Hey, I'm Nick from Define My Day, and today I wanted to talk about purpose. This is kind of a casual, impromptu discussion because, it's just been something that's been popping up a lot for me this week. It's been popping up in my news feed on Facebook, and some things have been going on around me in the sense, like the topic of purpose, life purpose, has been coming up a lot. So I figured I'd go ahead and talk about it. Usually, I'll do a more structured session where we talk about a specific topic, where maybe I even have a couple of slides. But for this one, I think that it's just best to open the discussion and see if anybody else has some input they want to throw in on here also. So for this one, the main article that really got me moving here, I posted it on our page, and I'll post it again in the comments in this video. But it's in NPR. What's your purpose? Finding a sense of meaning in life is linked to health. And in this study that they're citing here, they analyzed data from 7,000 American adults between 51 and 61. And what they found was that people who didn't have a strong life purpose, which they defined as a self-organizing life aim that stimulates goals, those people were more likely to die than those who did have a strong life purpose, and specifically more likely to die of cardiovascular diseases. Now, I don't know. I didn't go into the study to know what what their lives were like. Does somebody without a strong sense of purpose not take care of themselves as well? I don't know. I would think that would have something to do with it. But the specific measurement here, people without a strong life purpose were more than twice as likely to die between the study years of 2006 and 2010 compared to those who had one. It was across the board, with rich or poor, regardless of gender, race, or education level. Basically, if you are floating through life with no sense of purpose and direction, you are more likely to die, twice as likely to die than somebody who does have a strong sense of purpose. And I think that gets lost on us when we're doing the Define My Day stuff, right? I think with Define My Day, we get focused sometimes on what we're doing today, right? We have the goals, we have the monthly goals, we have the weekly milestones, but a lot of times we get stuck just focusing on what we have to get done today. And Define My Day even turns into a practice of just writing down the things that you have to do, which is the wrong way. It's not what I intended for it to be for myself or for anybody else. I don't want you to write that you have chores to do or that you have things at work you have to do. We all have that stuff, and that stuff has to get done, right? But it's not a life priority for you most of the time. Nobody's going to write handed reports in on time or did laundry very well. Nobody's going to write that in your eulogy. So, I think what we need to do is we're analyzing what we write in Define My Day. And even if you're not a Define My Day user, what we need to be thinking about on a daily basis is what is really going to make me happy. What is my purpose, and what are the things that I can do today that are going to make me feel fulfilled with wherever I end up in life. I was listening. So this is kind of corny, but I was a huge Bon Jovi fan when I was a kid, right? And I haven't listened to them since probably the New Jersey album, because everything after that got really corny. But they have a song. My kids have been listening to them now, so I have two little boys. And for some reason, somebody got them on Bon Jovi, and now they want to listen to Bon Jovi nonstop in the car. And It's My Life is one of the songs that they recently got into. And we were listening to it on the way home today. And that song is sort of exactly what I'm talking about. That sense of passion and purpose. That, like, it's my life. I got one of them. And, I'm going to live it to the best of my ability. And I think that gets lost on all of us. We kind of float through it. We kind of wait for something to happen. And it's really not going to happen to us unless we make it happen for ourselves. And, why does it happen? I don't know. I think sometimes it's the way we're raised. I think sometimes we feel like we have to conform. We're embarrassed that we might just. I see it. Love Bon Jovi. Yeah, Sheila. I think that we just, we might feel ridiculed by people around us if we step out of, what they expect of us. I don't know why we kind of just let ourselves get dulled down, right? My boys are so excited about life, and they're so excited about what they're going to be when they grow up, and they're excited about waking up every day and jumping around the house. And somewhere that's just beaten out of us, and it stinks. I hate it. I really just hate that. A lot of people watching this might think to themselves, how do I find my purpose? I think there's two ways. I think you do some deep exploration, and I think you also just take it day to day, right? You do just a little bit of both. And the deep exploration way, I think you go into, you can go into Simon Sinek's Start With Why. He also has a workbook, Find Your Why. Those are two that I recommend for a lot of people. And an exercise that I like to use for myself that we've talked about in the past is just envisioning yourself, on your deathbed, as morbid as it sounds. You've envisioned yourself on your deathbed, and you look back over your life, and, at your happiest, if you're dying without regret, you're satisfied with everything you've done, what does that life look like? And, is your current path taking you to that place? And so, you think to yourself, you kind of bring it forward a little bit and think to yourself, so what do I got to do now to get to the place where if I'm laying there, I'm satisfied. The people around me, I'm happy with who's around me. I'm happy with what I've done. I'm happy with the things I've accomplished. I'm happy with the reputation I left behind. What do you have to change now to get to that path? And you sort of set mile markers along the way. Where am I going to be in 10 years? What do I have to do to get halfway there, or a third of the way there, a quarter of the way there? And we just have to kind of always evaluate and keep that in the corner of our mind. And there are some things in there that become pillars of who you are. For me, I paid lip service to wanting to be a great father and a great husband, right? And I said I was doing it, but when I really took the time to step back and analyze my actions that I was taking every day, it wasn't necessarily true. Like if I wanted to be a great father, I wouldn't be spending so much time at work. I wouldn't be going out on the nights that I wasn't working. I wouldn't be going to networking events and not making contacts at these networking events that were just sucking hours out of my evenings instead of being home with my kids. When my kid walks into my office and needs something from me, I can't just shoo him away and say, I'll get to you later, and then never do that, right? So I either got to give him the attention now or uphold my bargain of, okay, I'll get to it later. But so many of us just let those moments go, and we say we'll get to it, and we don't. But we also say that, I want to be a great father. I want to be a great parent. It can be that way with work. I want to be a great employee. But then what's the attitude we bring in every day? What are we doing to take steps to be a better employee? If you're a leader, if you're a boss, if you're a manager, I'm a great manager. Well, if you're a great manager, are you reading new books all the time? Are you studying, how to be a better person in whatever position you're in? So, are you connecting your daily actions with whatever that purpose might be? And it's fluid. It changes. Whatever your purpose is, what it is today through life experience can definitely change. When I was, 20, I thought I wanted a Ferrari for every day of the week and a house with a moat. That was my level of success in life. That was going to be my benchmark. But things happen. Life changes. You meet somebody you want to marry, and they have their own goals, and then you have a kid and you realize, oh man, there's bigger things than just having a nice car. And maybe you have grandkids, and there's just spending time with them is all you want. So all of these things change as we go, but there's still some core principles in there, and that sense of purpose and direction really guides you. For me, I never realized it. So when I had my computer company, And when I was doing, even in-home service for, the old lady down the road and fixing her computer and getting her on the internet and getting her AOL working again, right? It was not so much that I loved computers, it's that I liked that feeling of helping somebody out. And it's sort of why I'm doing what we're doing now, right? It as, over the 15 years of doing business, my business has changed, but that one constant thread has always held true, is that I like helping people fix things. I like helping people find their way through a problem. And that was that thread that I wasn't identifying for the majority of the time that I was in business, that I really started to understand within the past couple of years. And it's why we started Define My Day. So for you, it might be helping the homeless. It might be, equality. It might be, women's rights, and it might be, whatever it might be. It might be political. It might be, just local, some helping people in the neighborhood. It might be just being there for family and friends. It might be animals, whatever you feel that desire to be a part of, taking that action. And sometimes it's hard action, daily action, to get to that great place. And I think that's where the small steps, the daily little small steps, I mentioned, kind of come into play, in that kind of slow budding awareness that we have when we take time to set forth an intention for the day, and take that 5 or 10 minutes in the morning to say, okay, so this is where I believe this is what's going to make me happy. And so today, to get to that place, I'm going to do this thing, right? And so then you do that thing, you follow through on that commitment to yourself. And then at the end of the day, you review how that thing made you feel. You're right. So I did this activity that I said I wanted to do to move me forward. It made me feel fulfilled. It made me feel energized. Or maybe it made me feel exhausted. I hated it. It was miserable. Well, if that's the feeling you're getting, that's not what you want to be doing, right? Maybe that's not the right thing for you. Maybe you're missing something here. But it takes that intention in the morning, in that review, that whether it's journaling or just looking back on your day, it takes that to understand what's happening to you throughout a day. It takes that reflection on your activities and your feelings to really understand, okay, maybe I'm not on the right path, or maybe I am on the right path. That felt really good. So how do I do that more often? So that's where the whole Define My Day, if you want to take a 30,000 foot view, that's where Define My Day is coming from. We want to set that intention, and then at the end of the day say, okay, that was good, or no, I'm not doing that again. And that's where that awareness comes from. And I see it in our posts, right? There's always somebody that sees an example of one of our pages and they say, who has time for that crap? Looking at that gives me anxiety. One woman said she wanted to throw it into the Grand Canyon. You're missing something if that's how you feel. If you're so busy in your day that you can't take 5 minutes to set forth intention for yourself, to take yourself to where you want to go. Nobody's putting this on you, right? This is just being intentional for your own life so that you are sure about the direction that you're going. If you can't take 5 minutes out of your morning to do that, then you're not aware of what's going on, right? You have to take time to take stock, and you probably have to do it every day, because things can go off track pretty stinking quick. I know. I've done both sides of it, right? I've done 30 or 35 years of not being intentional, just doing what I thought I should be doing and not paying attention to the results and not paying attention to what I was actually doing. And then I started this process. And then I fell away from this process. And I realized how far off I had fallen, and I got back onto it again. And that's, you need to be intentional. You can find 5 minutes. Put your phone down for 5 minutes. Or don't sit on your phone talking to somebody for 5 minutes. Don't sit at the water cooler BSing for 5 minutes. Take 5 minutes for yourself and be intentional. So that's for anybody that says, I don't have time for this. You do. You absolutely do. That doesn't mean that the day doesn't fly away from you once in a while. There's some days that I wake up and it's just everything's hitting the fan and you don't stop. I get that happens. It doesn't happen every day. So I'm going to take a look at the comments here real quick. Tamra, good to see you. Hello. I'm glad you're here. I hope everything's going well for you. We've missed you in the group. I hope to see you back there soon. Sheila, good evening to you. And yeah, I know you love Bon Jovi, huh? I've not listened to them in years. It's bringing back some memories. And I don't know how you feel about them, but I think it all started going downhill when he cut his hair. Jennifer, I am awesome. Thank you. I appreciate that. Thank you very much. Belinda, good evening. Good to see you. Just what you need right now. I'm glad. I'm happy to hear that. I'm happy to hear that I'm here for you, and that I came at the right time. I hope I found you at a place where we're at an upswing, and you are. We're moving forward, right? Right. We always want to take those small steps every day. And Maggie, I'm the best. I doubt it, but I appreciate it. Thank you. So what's going on with everybody? I don't want to talk the whole time. I want this to be informal. Does anybody have any questions? We got, 10 or 11 people on here right now. Does anybody have anything going on that they want to talk about? Any questions? If I don't know if Maggie is still on, but Maggie is actually going to be doing a live discussion with me one day, sometime in the next couple weeks, I hope. We're trying to nail it down, but she is going to come into my home, and we are going to do a one-on-one session with her, and she's going to ask her questions live in person about the process, about what she's finding difficulty in, and I think a lot of people are going to like her. She's very funny. She is relatable. I think that it's going to be a pretty cool little thing once we can pull it together. Kimberly says, perfect timing, meant to be. Good way to start the summer. Intention. Absolutely, right? Yeah. And your intentions can be simple. There are days in my book where I just write, be mindful, or be kind, or pay attention to your boys. And, under there, I'll put, pay attention to my kids. I'll put, look at them when I'm talking to them or when they're talking to me. Give them my full attention. Spend 2 hours in the backyard. Like little stuff like that. It doesn't need to be, and those are fun things. It doesn't need to be anything like task oriented. But, people say, they'll push back and say, well, you should do that stuff anyway. Yeah, but how often do you say I should do that and then maybe you don't quite do it, or like the whole day flies by and you realize that, you didn't do what you thought you wanted to do? So that's why if you write it down, it becomes a little bit more real and it becomes a little bit bigger of a commitment to yourself. Belinda says, working to get back in the process, have been slacking for extended period of time. Ooh, that's bad. Belinda, so, that is a valuable process you're going through, right? I'm not gonna judge anybody that picks up to Find My Day, does it for a month or two, and then quits, and then comes back. I actually think that that's a valuable experience to have, because when you can start doing it, and you make it through the difficult part where like that 2 or 3 week mark where you're like, is this really working for me? Because you're not seeing like huge results. You might be getting a little bit. And then you maybe into like month 2, you just kind of drop off. Life happens, whatever. And then you slide back, right? You go all the way back down the escalator. And it gives you perspective. You see where you were in at your best, and then you come all the way back down, and you're going, okay. All right, now I know why I started it. And it kind of reaffirms why you started it, and you can continue back on again, which I hope people do. They continue back on. And there's little tips and tactics that we're going to work on to help people maintain the habit through the hard parts. But it's like a diet. It's like exercise. You don't feel that immediate change. It's it's a process that takes a while. The focus, the intentionality, the benefits you get are really far out there. I'm still getting benefit now, and I started this years ago, and I'm still sort of just getting the benefits that I really want. But, looking back on it, if I didn't start doing this a couple of years ago, I'd never be anywhere I am right now. I'd be miserable. I'd be a cranky man. And that's not who I want to be. And so, if you can look forward to that, but also, know like the process works, and, you just gotta follow through with it, and it doesn't take a whole lot of time. It's just a matter of being a little bit more aware and intentional every day. So yeah, so just Belinda, don't beat yourself up over it. You're getting back into it now. We welcome you back. Happy to have you, and take that insight that you gained from stepping out of it for a while, and use that as fuel to keep going forward. So yeah, so that's that's the big thing. Purpose for me. I think that it's that when I read Find Your Why by Simon Sinek is when it all came together. It's when I started really thinking about what I was here to do. What am I on this planet for? And it's not just to go to work and then come home and eat dinner and play with the kids for a little bit and then go to bed, right? There's got to be something deeper to it than that. And I'm not playing with my kids out of obligation. I'm not going to work just because I want to make a couple of bucks. It's got to be bigger than that. And they said in this article, it doesn't matter where you are on the economic scale. It doesn't matter what race you are. It doesn't matter what gender you are. None of that matters. If you're not waking up every day for a specific reason, then you're just not going to live a healthy life. And it's probably going to be shorter than the person that does have a purpose for getting out of bed. And you see Alex Trebek right now, right? I just saw an article today saying that he's almost in remission, and the doctors were baffled by, or surprised at how well he bounced back. And in these purpose articles, you read that these people that are working with cancer patients, there are some people that come in and they're already defeated, and they just they're not going to make it because they just don't have the mental attitude, the mindset and the drive, the purpose to keep going. But then you have these other people with this, it's like a sheer force of will that they are going to live. They're going to survive. And maybe even if they don't, they still make the best of it, right? We know those people. We've had those people in our lives. And I think that, those are the people that are making the most of it. They're enjoying it. And they don't have any regret at the end. And that's where I want to be. I'm not there yet. I know if I were to pass away tomorrow, I'm going to still have a lot of regret. And I'm going to be scared for the people I'm leaving behind. And I know I still have a lot more work to do. But I'm a lot closer than I was years ago, even a couple of years ago. So, if you want to take the pounds off, you got to have a good reason to do it. You can't just to look good, fine, but there's a reason you want to look good. Or maybe there's a reason you want to live a little bit longer. If you want to be mentally fresh and mentally sharp, there's a reason you want to be there. So what is that reason? Belinda said, I find that I'm much more focused on life when I'm defining my day. You're right on. Thank you, Belinda. I appreciate that. Tamara says, work has been overwhelming, so I got off social media phone and found I was more productive, but I never finished the Miracle Morning. I know, we missed you. We left off at like chapter 7 or 8. We've been waiting for you. I understand getting off social media, and I can understand being more productive. And that's one of the reasons I'm still opposed to doing a digital Define My Day. I'll tell you, even myself, I was on my phone trying to make notes yesterday, and a little alert came up on my phone, and I clicked on it, and I started reading something, and then I found myself 5 or 10 minutes later completely distant from where I wanted to be making notes on my phone about a topic. So it's amazing how you can get caught up into that and just waste time. There's for me, that could have been my 5 minutes of defining my day, right? So I understand the whole want to get off. I will never be able to do it. My entire business is on social media, so that's not my. I'm not going to be able to get out of that. Anything else going on? I'm not going to stay too long. If anybody wants to talk about anything or ask any questions, I am here to answer them. If you have any questions about Define My Day, if you're not a user yet, we can talk about it. If you are a user and you're stuck somewhere, I'm certainly willing to talk about that too. We are working on Emma. Yeah, We're working on a couple things with Define My Day right now. We're talking about doing a new color for the covers. We are out of green right now. We had a little disaster in the warehouse where they destroyed all of our greens, so we don't have any greens. Um, but we're doing a new teal color coming up in a couple of months, so we're looking forward to that. And we'll have more of the regular green that we were that was we've been selling for a couple of months now. Everything else is back in stock. We were out of pink for a little while there. Everything else is back in stock, and we'll be doing some other updates for the book. One of the things that we're probably going to do, I'm working on a download right now with a calendar. One of the biggest things people have been asking for is a calendar. And while I hesitate to put an actual calendar in the book for a couple of reasons, I do want to do like a downloadable calendar that maybe you could print out, and so that you can see your day or see the week, but also that you can track the days that you did define my day, so that you can kind of see your progress going through the process. And I think it would be valuable for a lot of people. We do that in working out and eating well. We kind of tick off the days that we did, like even maybe saving for a vacation. We tick off the days that we saved our money, and this is kind of the same idea. We want to build up that chain of progress and see how far we've come. So I'm gonna kind of give people a way to do that, and we may end up putting it into the book eventually also. So we'll try to do that for you, and put a little way in the book for maybe we can schedule some, or at least show you like the days of the week so you can look at it. I don't know, calendar it has been the one thing that people keep asking for. So we're trying to figure that out for people. Sheila says, my purpose has been a jigsaw puzzle for the past 25 years. I've been defining myself by others' purpose. Yeah, I know that one. Thankful that I am now on a path towards my own purpose. Still a work in progress, one goal at a time. Yeah, Sheila, and you are, if not the biggest contributor, one of the biggest contributors in our group, and I appreciate that. And you always have something awesome to say every day, so thank you. And just seeing where you've come in the past couple of months has been really, really cool. And I think you even went through that, if I'm remembering correctly, you went through that same experience that Belinda did, right? So you were on it really hot and heavy, and then you kind of disappeared for a little while. You took some time off. I think it may be during the holidays, and then you kind of came back on really, really strong. And I think that gives you some perspective. You can see the pros and the cons of doing the process or not doing the process. But yeah, with you, the past 25 years being that, doing it for somebody else, I think that when we lack a sense of purpose for ourselves, like when we don't take the time to define it, we can slip into that, like doing it for other people. And we do it for acceptance, and we do it, like because we see some happiness in their eyes. And so that becomes our purpose, although it's not really authentic to ourselves. I think I did that to myself a lot, where I kind of thought that like other people's happiness, and not in a giving kind of way, but like other people's happiness, or me making them happy, would somehow fulfill me, and it didn't, because a lot of the people that I was trying to make happy, weren't really healthy people, and they ended up taking advantage, right? And they want more and more and more, and you can't give that much. So I mean, there's I'm not saying don't be giving. There's certain situations where you need to give without expecting anything in return, and then there's other times where it needs to be an equitable relationship. Emma says, have not made a purchase. Where should I start? Emma, you can purchase if you go to definemyday.com. You can purchase there. You can start. So one book is 28 days, and they are $17.99 right now, I believe. And if you purchase 3, we have a code to get you 3 for $39.99, and you also get free shipping with that. You can also sign up for automatic shipments every 4 weeks, and you get a 10% discount with free shipping every time. That's the cheapest way to do it. So where should you start? First of all, I think before you even buy, you should really just decide, like, do you want to take that time in the morning to intentionally define your day? And you can even practice it now, where you say, a month from now, this is what I want to have accomplished. And the thing I need to do today to start moving toward that goal is this. And then so you do that thing, and then at the end of the day, you review it and say, okay, it worked well for me, or it made me feel good. I accomplished it. And the next thing I need to do is, I didn't because once I started doing it, I realized I didn't like it or something like that. It's much more structured in the book. But if you can take that time to write down your priorities for the day, and those priorities that kind of fit your purpose, if you're willing to start doing that, then you're ready for the process, right? Is that like, I'm trying not to, I don't want to be like salesy. This is not the purpose of this. I'm not trying to like sell you a book right now. But if you, I think it's definitely worth it. And I think everybody watching this agrees. If they're already a customer, agrees that it's worth it. I just have a really hard time trying to be pushy. So I believe in the process. So where do you start? Start with the Define My Day website. I'm butchering this, but the other place you can really start is on YouTube. If you search for Define My Day on YouTube, there is a walkthrough, and it's a 14 video walkthrough. And it kind of gives you like the step-by-step of each page and each part of the process. And I think it gives you a good understanding of where the book tries to take you. And it's an experience, like the process, like the book isn't like it's not going to fix anybody, right? It's just a tool to help you get through the journey. It's like a like a hammer, right? Like you want to hammer nails, you want to build a roof. You can't just buy a hammer and the roof appears, right? The hammer helps you put the nails in the roof, and you still got to do a lot of the hard work yourself. You still got to swing it yourself. And that's kind of where Define My Day fits in. It's like that you're just identifying what you feel is important right now, and then reviewing that at the end of the day, and trying to build a routine and a process in that. And there's other components built in also, but all the hard work comes in you. And the whole process takes you through this journey where you'll mess up, and you'll do things that you realize were a waste of time, and you'll stumble across things that you realize are incredibly valuable. And going through that whole process is really the whole fix, right? Like the book is not the fix. The process is the fix for us. It's how we get that sense of awareness and that clarity of thought and intention. Yeah, Sheila, I appreciate you, man. Thank you. Bonnie, I use many different planners. Yeah, Bonnie, I have tried many different planners. They didn't work for me because they required too much effort. Now, when we talk about planners, some people think of planners and they think of like scheduling things. That's not our intention with Define My Day. With Define My Day, we want to, there's not even a schedule in there. It's more of just saying these are my priorities for the day, and these are the things that might knock me off of those priorities, and this is how I'm going to address it. With a lot of planners that I tried, they wanted to be a calendar, a scheduler, which I use Outlook for, or my phone. They wanted to also help me log my food and help me log my, the process was too long. I needed something I can get in and get out really quick and just open up to a page and there everything was. So that's kind of why I did Define My Day. It's supposed to be incredibly simple. There's enough structure to keep you in a routine, but also it's flexible enough that you can really use it for anything personal or professional. YouTube, I could throw the link for YouTube on here. Hold on one second. I'm going to do that now before I forget. And I will also post the purpose article up here right now so you guys can see that. So that's the purpose article. And YouTube there's like dead air right now. I'm sorry, but I want to make sure I get this up here for you. My channel, playlists, find my day walkthrough, and we're going to actually be updating this hopefully in the next couple of weeks. I have some things I want to add to the playlist. All right, here you go. As we've gone, since this playlist was made in the fall, we've had some questions and things that we've wanted to clarify with people. So this playlist will be updated a little bit with some newer information. So, but for now, it's probably one of the better introductions. One of the complaints from people that don't have the book is that we don't actually show the book in the introduction. It's meant to be more of a walkthrough for the people that already have it. So if you don't have the book already, you might not have quite the understanding as somebody that does, but it was created more for the people that do already have it. So I apologize for that. We'll try to do more like B-roll of actually filling in the book when we update the videos. Yeah, Sheila says, yes, I slacked off mid-December to the 1st of February. Well, I didn't realize you were gone so long. That was almost 2 months. But it was so easy to pick back up. I have 3 slack periods a year. I get overwhelmed. I hear you. Actually, this should be one of my slack periods, and I was really worried that I was going to backslide because last week was such a struggle, but I regrouped. This week is going great. Good to hear. Yeah, last week was a struggle for a couple of people. It was really hard for me, too. It was, the wheels were flying off last week. But I got through the weekend and coming on strong this week, so I like that. David, spend a lot of time running around trying to care for my 2-year-old daughter. I hear you, man. So my youngest is 5, and it doesn't really slow down a whole lot. And you know what? I think that with Sheila made me think of this, and David, you are too. So there's situations where, life is kind of chaotic, right? Going into summer, even going on vacation. Like sometimes people drop Define My Day completely when going on vacation. But in reality, it can be valuable on vacation, right? To make sure you pay attention to what you want to on the vacation, do the activities you want to do, have the right mindset each morning. And it can even log like how that vacation went, so you can always go back and look and see, what that vacation was like. Going into summer when we're not so, especially school teachers, when you're a little bit more free, it's easy to let time slip away. It's easy to go, oh my God, where'd my summer go? I didn't do anything. But if you keep up the practice, then that doesn't happen so much. Now, I would say, David, with you having a baby or a toddler in the house, it's not going to be so much like, a priority for me today is accomplishing a specific thing. For me with my kids, a lot of it's the mindset I'm bringing today. So my, priority for me in the day would be, I am going to be a positive influence on my children. And I'm going to do that by, I'll have my 3 tasks. It'll be, I'm going to sit and give them my full attention during dinner. I'm going to wake up enthusiastically and have a great morning with them. The first hour of the day is whatever. I will have an activity, after lunch where we, draw for an hour or, there's whatever it might be for you. And at 2 years old, I actually hardly remember what was going on at 2 years old, but I know she's probably running around the house and, you're just trying to keep things under control. So a lot of it's mindset and a lot of it's trying not to be frustrated. Maybe it's, getting outside for a couple of hours or taking her to the mall and running around the mall or whatever. So, it's not so much like, life goals. It's just so much like being in the moment and having the right mindset as you're going through it. It's a hard time. It's a really hard time. Bonnie says, what made me create this? How long did it take from idea to actual product? So I created this. I started creating it about 4 or 5 years ago as I realized I was not doing things in alignment with what I said I thought I was doing, if that makes sense. I owned my own business. I was working really, really hard at it. I was working 12 to 14 hours a day. I was not as far in the business as I wanted to be. I wasn't as profitable as I wanted to be. And I was always saying that same thing that business owners say, in that um, I will eventually reach this breaking point where I will have more time. I will be able to spend time with my kids. We'll be able to go on vacation. There's always that, soon, sometime soon, this will happen, this will happen. And it was never happening. It kept getting further and further away. And I was waking up earlier, I was getting home later, and I was seeing my family less. In the meantime, my wife and I were not having a great time together, understandably. And so I needed to bring it back. And I had heard about, business leaders journaling. I'd heard about business leaders, writing down the main things they wanted to do today. And I thought, well, I'm going to try to do that. So I used some other people's worksheets and things, and it didn't quite fit. So I started making it myself in like Illustrator, and started like playing with fields myself, and started writing this down. And I ended up with like a year or two worth of individual pieces of paper, stuffed in. I actually at one point had two folders, like two manila folders taped to the wall in my bedroom. And I had blank sheets on one side and I had finished sheets on the other. And it got to be where the finished sheets were so heavy, like it fell off the wall. And, I'd find papers everywhere. But I would always keep it with me. I'd always check off the things I had done through the day. And, I'd write my mindset things. And as I would read a new activity, whether it was a Tony Robbins thing, I would add it to my sheet. And, it just became this process, and I never had any intention of selling it. I actually, talked about it a lot on an old website that I had and had a download, like with an example of it that people could download. And the more people started downloading it, I kind of started thinking, well, maybe I could put it together and make this into a business where I actually actively help people use it and help people, get on with it. We started it last year. So the actual Define My Day book, I have one of the original ones around here somewhere. But the actual Define My Day book started in March of last year, and it's crazy. I mean, it's been an enjoyable ride. I think the user group is an amazing place right now. There's some people in there that it's really cool to watch. Sheila being one of them. It's a really cool thing to watch some of these people help each other, go through whatever they're going through and overcome it. And it's taken on a life of its own. It's like I don't even need to be in the group half the time anymore. It's just watching the other people be there for one another. It's pretty cool. But I enjoy it. So from how long did it take to idea to actual product? I think it was a fluid idea for 3 or 4 years, and then it kind of came together really fast last winter. Cool. Well, hey, I don't want to keep anybody too late tonight, and I am gonna go and get into bed. One of my disciplines is to be in bed by 10 o'clock and up at 5 in the morning. Neither one of those are going to happen right now because it's past 10 o'clock already. And by the time I wind down after this, I'm not getting up at 5 o'clock tomorrow. So I'm going to miss those disciplines. And so, Sheila, there's my 100% disciplines for the week. It's already out the window. I have this thing, just to fill you in real quick. In one part of Define My Day is a discipline sheet where you try to build healthy habits and routines. And I struggle to make that 100% every week. There's always something I miss. And even tonight, I didn't read to my kids before going to bed. It's one of my disciplines because I was, we had to do this, and they wanted to go to bed late, so we kind of cut into reading time. But that's one of the things we do with this is try to build healthy disciplines and routines in our lives to be a little bit more efficient. And it's all building stuff, building things into our lives that would make us healthy, that we feel would make us healthy. We provide you with some basic ones like drinking enough water, eating well, exercising. Like we give you those examples because everybody really needs to do that stuff. But you can create your own, like reading to my kids every night. Eventually that's not going to be discipline because they're not going to want me to read to them. And waking up at 5 in the morning might not be a discipline for me eventually. But right now it is, and I'm trying to make it a habit. And when it becomes a habit and I don't have to think about it anymore, then it'll come out of the book. So, but it's fun. I enjoy it. I appreciate everybody being with me today. I hope this clarified purpose, or at least created maybe a little spark in you to find your purpose. I'm still exploring mine. I know I have my pillars right now for me, but it can always change. It's always it's fluid as life happens, and trying to figure it out and gaining more clarity on myself. Kristen says, it's so cool to see how committed you are in helping everyone who buys the product. Thank you. I appreciate that. I think a lot of people, when they see our product, think that we're a big company, and that that like it's kind of like we're just throwing it out there for people to buy and for us to make boatloads of money, right? And it's not like that. I mean, I'm up here doing this stuff, and my wife is in the basement packing books. And we're sending them, literally, we're taking them out of our garage and taking them to the post office. So there's a lot of effort that goes into this. So we wouldn't do it if we didn't enjoy it. And it's good to see some of the emails we get from people. It's amazing, and I can't even talk about it because I'm gonna get all choked up about it. So, but we really enjoy it. Debbie, the book is not available in audio. We don't have like an actual like book. This is more of just the workbook for for you to fill in every day. Bonnie, you're welcome. Thank you. I appreciate it. Emma, thank you. I hope I answered your questions there. If you do have any other questions, message me through Facebook, and I can answer any questions you have there. You can see some photos of the pages on definemyday.com. You'll get a good feeling for what the book is there. And we're working to add more pages to the webpage to explain it better, so that people better understand it when they're in the position where you are, where you're investigating it. So we'll try to get more and more out there for you. That said, I hope everybody out there is defining their days to define their life. After all, we want to live a defined life, right? Defined how we want to define it. So have a good night, everybody, and I will see you soon. Take care.